The world recognizes Chuck Norris as the symbol of invincibility. A six-time world karate champion, the star of more than 30 action films, the man whose name became a worldwide meme, admired by millions as the image of unstoppable strength. But there is a truth the jokes never revealed. A story hidden behind every on-screen strike, every intense stare, and every exaggeration about his endless power. While people laughed and said Chuck Norris doesn't do push-ups, he pushes the earth down, the real man was fighting battles no black belt could overcome. Losses so painful that no number of trophies could erase them, and a weakness so deep it would turn the symbol of strength into someone trapped inside his own body. How did a boy hurt by his father, ignored at school, and frozen by fear become the legend we know today? What happened behind the spotlight that changed success into regret? And why has the man the world sees as untouchable faced life-threatening moments twice in recent years, while the jokes kept celebrating his strength? To understand these answers, we must return to the beginning. Because Chuck Norris's true story didn't start in championship arenas or Hollywood studios. It began in a troubled home in Oklahoma, where simply getting through each day was the only victory. Born Carlos Ray Norris on March 10, 1940, in Ryan, Oklahoma, Chuck entered a life already weighed down by poverty and conflict. His father, Ray Norris, was not the protector a child needed, but a source of fear inside his own home. He was a mechanic, a World War II veteran, and a man struggling with severe alcohol problems, spending his earnings on drinking and turning nights into chaos. Chuck later shared with honesty, "My father never hugged me. He only hit me." The lack of love and the constant fear left emotional wounds deeper than any physical fight ever could. The Norris household was filled with tension hidden behind the image of a normal family. Ray's angry outbursts were sudden and frightening. Furniture broke, doors slammed, and young Chuck, along with his younger brothers Wieland and Aaron, learned to stay quiet and out of sight, hoping the storm would pass without reaching them. But staying invisible didn't always protect them. Chuck remembered how his father would suddenly grab him, shouting harsh words close to his face, his breath heavy with alcohol. "You're worthless," Ray would say. "You'll never be anything." Hearing those words from his own father created doubts Chuck carried for many years, affecting every challenge and every quiet moment of his life. His mother, Wilma, did everything she could to protect her children, but she was also trapped in the same painful situation. She worked long hours as a waitress just to provide food for the family. She had little power to stop the violence. Chuck saw her endure pain meant for him. He saw her tense at the sound of Ray's truck arriving home. From a young age, he learned that love often existed alongside hardship. School did not offer comfort. Quiet, thin, and struggling with anxiety, Chuck became the boy who stayed in the background. He was too nervous to speak up and too unsure of himself to connect with others. Students noticed his worn clothes, the marks he tried to hide, and the way he reacted nervously to loud voices. He wasn't openly targeted. Instead, he was simply ignored. He moved through the halls like someone no one noticed. At home, financial struggle never left them. The family moved often, following Ray's inconsistent work from Oklahoma to Missouri, then Kansas, and finally California. They never stayed long enough to feel settled. Each move meant starting over in another small rented place filled with uncertainty. Chuck slept on floors, wore used shoes until they fell apart, and became familiar with hunger, learning to endure it quietly. By his early teenage years, Chuck had accepted a painful belief he would spend his life trying to overcome, that he wasn't good enough. His father's treatment had planted that message deep inside him. His mother's exhaustion reinforced it. When he looked at himself, he saw a weak and unsure boy with no clear future and little confidence. At 18, Chuck made a decision driven by the need to escape. He joined the United States Air Force, not because of ambition, but to leave behind the home that had caused him so much pain. He later admitted, "I didn't join the military to serve my country. I joined to escape my father." But he soon realized that leaving a place doesn't erase emotional wounds. You can leave a house, a city, even a country, but the emotional scars follow you, appearing in every moment of doubt and every reflection that reminds you of who you once were. The fighter in Chuck was not created in comfort. He was shaped by hardship, survival, and the struggle to believe he mattered. The Air Force offered Chuck a way out. but it also brought new challenges. In 1958, he was stationed at Osan Air Base in South Korea, working as a military policeman. The position sounded important, but inside, he still felt like the same unsure boy from Oklahoma, wearing a uniform that didn't match how he saw himself. Korea felt cold and distant. While other servicemen built friendships, Chuck remained alone, held back by insecurity and the echoes of his past. He later admitted, "I was lost. I had no identity, no confidence. I was just existing, not living." The loneliness felt overwhelming. Far from home and surrounded by strangers, he experienced the same sense of invisibility from his childhood. He wrote letters to his mother but never sent them, filled with questions he couldn't answer. Who am I? What is my purpose? Will I ever become more than my father's disappointment? One day, while walking through the streets of Osan during his free time, Chuck noticed a small martial arts school. Through the window, he saw students moving with control and focus, their actions calm and disciplined. It was the first time he saw strength that didn't come from anger. He stood outside for a long time, unsure if he belonged there. The familiar doubts returned, telling him he wasn't capable. But something deeper pushed him forward, and he stepped inside. The instructor, an experienced Korean master, saw something in Chuck beyond his fear. "You want to learn?" the teacher asked. Chuck nodded quietly. "Then you work. No excuses." That first lesson challenged everything Chuck believed about himself. He was weak, unbalanced, and awkward. Other students moved with confidence while he struggled to keep up. His body hurt, and every movement felt difficult. But for the first time, failure didn't come with shame. It came with guidance. The instructor simply told him to try again and improve. Chuck began learning Tang-Soo-Do, a Korean martial art that was more than physical training. It was a way of building discipline and inner strength. His teacher showed him that real power comes from self-control, not anger, and that true strength begins with mastering yourself. Chuck returned night after night. His muscles ached, and his hands became sore, but something inside him was changing. For the first time, he found a way to express himself without words. Progress was slow and demanding. Months passed before he earned his first belt. Other students improved faster, making Chuck feel behind. There were moments when he wanted to quit, when his old doubts returned, telling him he would never succeed. But his teacher believed in something Chuck could not yet see. After one difficult training session, the master told him something that would stay with him forever. Talent alone means nothing without persistence. Persistence is everything. The student who refuses to give up will always overcome the one who depends only on natural ability. Those words became a belief Chuck carried with him for the rest of his life. By the time his service in Korea ended in 1962, Chuck Norris was no longer the frightened boy who had run from his father's home. He remained quiet and unsure, still holding emotional wounds that would take years to heal. But he had gained something more important than confidence. He had discovered direction. The fighter inside him was forming, not from one moment of victory, but from countless decisions to keep going. Korea had not simply made him stronger. It had shown him that strength is a daily choice, especially when no one else is watching. Soon, that lesson would be tested in ways he never expected. When Chuck returned to America in 1962, he carried his black belt as a symbol of protection and purpose. But the country he came back to did not yet value Korean martial arts. Tang-Soo-Do was mostly unknown. Karate schools were few, and many people didn't take them seriously. Chuck, now married to his high school sweetheart Diane Holchek, struggled to support his growing family. He worked ordinary jobs just to survive and felt himself slipping back into the same uncertainty he thought he had left behind. He found work as a file clerk at Northrop Aviation in Los Angeles, organizing paperwork under harsh fluorescent lights that made each day feel endless. The pay was low, and the work brought little satisfaction. Each morning, old doubts returned, reminding him of the painful words he had heard growing up. But at night, when Diane slept and the apartment became quiet, Chuck trained alone. He practiced kicks in the narrow hallway and punched a homemade heavy bag hanging from the ceiling. He repeated movements over and over until they became natural. He wasn't preparing for a specific competition. He was reminding himself that his journey had meaning, that his progress was real. In 1964, pressure from financial struggles pushed him to take a bold step. With bills increasing and his responsibilities growing, Chuck opened his first karate school in Torrance, California. It was a small storefront with worn mirrors and creaking floors. He had no students, no recognition, and no guarantee of success. For weeks, no one came. He sat alone in the empty space, watching people pass by outside. Each passing car reminded him of his uncertainty. He later admitted, "I thought I had made the biggest mistake of my life. I was ready to close the doors and quit." But slowly, things began to change. One student arrived, then a few more, and eventually a small group formed. Most were beginners seeking confidence and self-defense. Chuck taught them with the same discipline he had learned in Korea. He emphasized patience, effort, and respect above all else. Over time, people began to notice him. His calm personality and powerful technique earned quiet respect. Then in 1967, Chuck entered his first major competition, the All-American Karate Championships. He won not through showmanship, but through careful control and precise movement. That victory opened new opportunities. Event organizers invited him to compete, and other martial artists challenged him. For the first time in his life, Chuck was no longer invisible. Between 1968 and 1974, Chuck Norris became one of the most respected competitors in karate. He won championship after championship, defeating well-known fighters like Joe Louis, Skipper Mullins, and Alan Steen. He earned the World Middleweight Karate Champion title 6 times. His record stood at 183 wins and only 10 losses, a level of success few could match. Yet even at the height of his competitive success, Chuck felt something was missing. His trophies filled shelves, but they didn't solve his financial struggles. His titles earned admiration, but they didn't quiet the doubts within him. He had reached the top of his field, yet still wondered what his future truly held. His discipline and skill were undeniable, and his name was respected in martial arts communities across the country. But he was about to face a difficult truth. Excelling at something few people understood could still leave a person feeling unseen. The next chapter of his life would unfold not in competitions, but in the film industry, where a meeting with Bruce Lee would change everything. By the early 1970s, Chuck Norris had achieved great success in martial arts. However, Hollywood showed little interest in him. Casting directors saw him as too stiff and lacking presence. One agent told him honestly, "You're a great fighter, but you'll never be an actor." Chuck attended many auditions, only to face rejection or silence. He would return to his karate school and sit alone, questioning whether he had spent years pursuing the wrong dream. Then in 1968, everything changed with a single phone call. Bruce Lee, already gaining recognition from his role in the Green Hornet, had heard about Chuck's abilities and wanted to meet him. He didn't want publicity or attention. He wanted to train with him. Their first sparring session was respectful and meaningful. Bruce's speed met Chuck's control, and a strong friendship quickly formed. Bruce recognized something others had missed. He saw authenticity, focus, and quiet strength. He told Chuck, "You need to be in movies." Chuck laughed, remembering all the rejection he had faced. But Bruce believed in him. In 1972, Bruce gave Chuck a life-changing opportunity. He cast him as the main opponent in Way of the Dragon. The role required no spoken lines, only physical expression. The final fight scene, filmed in Rome's Colosseum, became legendary. For 7 minutes, Bruce Lee and Chuck Norris delivered one of the most memorable martial arts scenes ever filmed. Chuck's performance made his character feel powerful and real. Audiences believed in his strength, and his presence left a lasting impression. Suddenly, Chuck was no longer ignored. He had become recognized in martial arts cinema, but the success was mixed with sadness. In July 1973, Bruce Lee passed away suddenly at just 32 years old. His loss deeply affected Chuck. He had lost not only a friend, but someone who had believed in him when others did not. Chuck attended the funeral, struggling to process the loss. He later said, "I loved Bruce like a brother. His death left a space nothing could replace." For a time, Chuck felt lost again. Film offers came, but without Bruce, the experience felt incomplete. He questioned why Bruce was gone, and he remained. Still, he chose to continue forward. He accepted roles in smaller action films like Breaker, and Good Guys Wear Black. These films were not highly praised by critics, but audiences connected with them. Each role helped Chuck grow more confident on screen. By the late 1970s, Chuck Norris had built a place for himself in the film industry. He was not yet the biggest star, but he had become a respected actor and martial artist. He had crossed into a world that once refused to recognize him, proving once again that persistence could change everything. The rejection still hurt, and the memory of Bruce Lee remained deeply painful. But Chuck had held on to the lesson Bruce once shared with him. Persistence opens every door. Slowly, Hollywood began to recognize Chuck Norris. The question now was whether he could keep their interest and grow into something greater than a martial artist who appeared in films. He was about to discover the answer. By the 1980s, Chuck Norris had worked his way from being unknown to becoming a steady presence in action movies. Films like The Octagon, Lone Wolf McQuade, and the highly successful Missing in Action trilogy made him widely recognized. He wasn't Stallone or Schwarzenegger, but he didn't need to follow their path. Chuck created his own identity, the quiet American hero, a man of few words whose actions spoke louder than anything he could say. In 1993, his career reached a defining moment when Walker, Texas Ranger premiered on CBS. What began as a simple action drama quickly grew into a major success. The show ran for 8 seasons and 203 episodes, becoming a favorite for millions of viewers. Chuck played Cordell Walker, a Texas Ranger who fought crime using martial arts and strong moral values. The show presented clear themes of right and wrong, with a hero who stayed true to his beliefs. Critics often dismissed it as predictable, but audiences appreciated its message. They connected with the idea that discipline and honor could still make a difference. At its height, Walker, Texas Ranger attracted over 15 million viewers per episode. It aired in more than 100 countries and was translated into many languages. From Seoul to Sao Paulo, people watched Chuck Norris deliver both action and inspiration. He was no longer just an actor. He had become a global symbol of strength and determination. The show also brought him great financial success. At one point, he earned more than $75,000 per episode, and with royalties and other earnings, his net worth rose beyond $70 million. He owned ranches in Texas, homes in California, and even a private jet. The boy who once struggled with poverty had built a life few could have imagined. Yet behind the success, familiar struggles remained. The demanding schedule required long days and constant travel. Chuck later admitted, "I was working so hard to prove myself that I forgot to enjoy the success." His marriage to Diane, already under strain from years of distance, began to fall apart under the pressure of fame. Then, in the mid-2000s, something unexpected happened. The internet created a new kind of fame for Chuck Norris. Jokes known as Chuck Norris facts spread across the world, humorously exaggerating his strength. Lines like, "Chuck Norris doesn't do push-ups. He pushes the earth down," became widely shared. What began as humor turned into a global trend. Chuck became both the subject of the joke and the hero of it. Even he found amusement in it, later saying, "I don't understand half of them, but I'm honored people see me that way." These jokes introduced him to a younger generation. He became more than an actor from past decades. He became a lasting symbol of resilience and strength. But behind the attention, Chuck faced a quieter truth. Fame brought recognition, but not always connection. He was known everywhere, yet truly understood by few. The same question from his youth returned. Who am I when the spotlight fades? At the height of his success, Chuck Norris had achieved everything he once believed would bring fulfillment, wealth, fame, and worldwide admiration. Yet standing alone on his Texas ranch, he sometimes felt the same loneliness he had known growing up. He had achieved more than he ever imagined, but his personal journey was far from complete. On December 1st, 2013, Chuck received heartbreaking news. His daughter, Dina DiCioli, had passed away at the age of 46 due to heart complications. The loss was sudden and deeply painful. Dina was his oldest daughter from his first marriage to Diane. Their relationship had been affected by distance, as Chuck had spent much of her childhood focused on building his career. He later recognized this with deep regret. When his marriage to Diane ended in 1988 after many years, it created emotional distance between Chuck and his children. These gaps grew quietly over time, shaped by missed moments and limited connection. Dina built her own life and family, but their relationship remained respectful rather than close. Chuck believed there would always be time to reconnect. Sadly, that opportunity was taken away. The funeral was an emotional experience. Surrounded by family, Chuck faced the painful reality of losing his daughter. Along with grief came deep reflection. He questioned the choices he had made and the time he had missed. He later shared with a close friend, "I thought I was building a future for my family, but I realize now how important it was to simply be there." After her passing, Chuck stepped away from public life for a time. He reduced appearances and spent more time in quiet reflection at his Texas ranch. He thought about the everyday moments he hadn't been present for and the importance of family. These memories stayed with him. He also reflected on his marriage to his second wife, Gina O'Kelly, whom he married in 1998. With her and their twin sons, Dakota and Daniele, he made a greater effort to be present and involved. He learned from his past and tried to focus more on family. He later said, "You can't change the past, but you can grow and do better moving forward." This loss also changed how Chuck viewed life. He had faced physical challenges before, but this was different. It reminded him that some things cannot be controlled or overcome through discipline alone. Friends noticed that after 2013, Chuck became more thoughtful and reflective. He remained strong, but his focus shifted toward what mattered most: family, peace, and the meaning behind the life he had built. The man who had built his image around being unbreakable finally showed the emotional weight he had carried for years. He spoke more gently. He paid closer attention when others talked. And when someone asked about his greatest regret, he no longer avoided the question with humor. He answered honestly, saying, "Not being there for my children when they were young. That's the one battle I lost and can never fight again." Losing Dina did not destroy Chuck Norris, but it changed him deeply. It taught him that the most meaningful moments are not found in fame or success, but in simple, everyday presence. Standing alone under the wide Texas sky, mourning a daughter he could no longer hold, he understood that some pain never truly fades. It simply becomes part of who you are. In 2017, as Chuck slowly began to regain emotional balance after Dina's passing, his health delivered another serious challenge. For years, his body had shown warning signs: tightness in his chest, difficulty breathing, and constant exhaustion. At 77, his determination remained strong, but his heart was weakening. Doctors diagnosed him with severe coronary artery disease, with multiple dangerous blockages. The heart that had supported decades of intense physical effort was now struggling. Doctors warned that without urgent treatment, he faced a life-threatening heart attack. In August 2017, Chuck underwent major heart surgery. For 6 long hours, surgeons performed a double bypass, temporarily stopping his heart while machines kept him alive. For someone who had always relied on his own strength, depending on others in such a critical moment was deeply difficult. He later said, "Knowing someone else was holding my heart in their hands was more frightening than any fight I had ever faced." Recovery was slow and painful. Simple movements like sitting up or walking became major challenges. The man who once performed incredible physical feats now needed assistance just to move around. His wife, Gina, became his strongest support. She helped manage his medications and made sure he rested properly. She stayed by his side, helping him stay hopeful during difficult days. Chuck later said, "She saved my life in every way." Her care gave him the strength to continue. In 2020, his heart faced new complications. Scar tissue from the earlier surgery caused additional blockages. Doctors told him he needed another procedure to restore proper blood flow. This surgery took place during the COVID-19 pandemic, making the experience even more isolating. Hospitals had strict restrictions, and Chuck faced recovery without the comfort of family nearby. He later shared that during those moments, he thought deeply about his family and the importance of expressing love while there was still time. He survived the second procedure, but recovery required patience and humility. Physical therapy tested his endurance in ways he had never experienced before. His body, once known for strength and control, now required careful attention. This experience changed his understanding of strength. He realized that true strength includes accepting help and allowing yourself time to heal. Doctors placed him on strict health routines, including medication, controlled exercise, and careful diet. Every step reminded him to respect his limits. He later reflected, saying, "These surgeries taught me lessons no fight ever could. In competition, you stand up on your own. In surgery, You depend completely on others. On January 4th, 2024, Chuck faced another painful loss. His younger brother, Wieland Norris, passed away suddenly at the age of 79. Wieland had lived a quiet life away from public attention. While Chuck became famous and their brother Aaron worked in Hollywood, Wieland remained private. But to Chuck, Wieland was more than family. He was someone who shared the early hardships of their childhood. They had experienced the same struggles growing up, supporting each other during difficult times. Wieland had watched Chuck's journey from the beginning, offering quiet encouragement through the years. Though distance and busy lives sometimes limited their contact, their bond remained meaningful. When Chuck received the news, he was overcome with emotion. He sat quietly, reflecting on their shared past. The funeral was private, attended by close family members. Standing there, Chuck understood that another important connection to his early life was gone. He later said softly, "He was one of the few who remembered everything we went through together." Wieland's passing reminded Chuck of how precious time truly is. Many of the people who had shaped his life were no longer there. He reflected on the importance of family, memory, and the relationships that define who we are. At 83 years old, Chuck understood that life had entered a quieter chapter. He had faced success, loss, and serious health challenges. Through it all, he continued to carry the lessons he had learned about persistence, humility, and the true meaning of strength. Friends noticed the difference right away. Chuck became more intentional about spending time with his twin sons, Dakota and Dan Lee, now in their mid-20s. He returned calls quickly and said, "I love you," more openly than before. When people asked about his legacy, he no longer spoke about movies or championships. Instead, he spoke about being present and making sure the people he loved never felt distant or forgotten. Wieland's passing did not break him, but it left a deep emptiness. Wieland represented the beginning, the proof of who Chuck was before the fame. With him gone, Chuck became the last person who truly remembered those early years. In 2025, at 84 years old, Chuck Norris stands not as the invincible figure people imagine, but as a man shaped by endurance, experience, and hard-earned wisdom. His daily routine now follows careful structure. Each morning begins with medications, blood thinners to protect his arteries, heart medications to maintain rhythm, and supplements recommended by doctors. Every pill is a reminder that time moves forward no matter how strong your will may be. Physical activity, once the center of his identity, has become gentle and controlled. He takes slow walks around his Texas ranch and performs simple stretches designed to maintain mobility. The powerful kicks that once defined him are gone, replaced by movements focused on comfort and stability. He admits quietly, "I'm not training for combat anymore. I'm training to live without pain." His body reflects decades of effort. Surgical scars, joint stiffness, fading vision, and reduced hearing remind him of his journey. The man people see as unstoppable faces the same limits as anyone else. Yet in this quieter phase of life, Chuck has found deeper meaning. Success is no longer measured in awards or income, but in presence. He spends meaningful time with his sons, listening, sharing stories, and strengthening their bond. He wants them to know him not as a public figure, but simply as their father. His wife, Gina, remains his closest partner. She supports his health, manages his care, and stays beside him during difficult moments. Chuck has said, "She has seen me at my lowest and never left." That is true strength. His financial success, built over many decades, remains secure. His estimated net worth is around $70 million, earned through films, television, and wise investments. But wealth no longer defines his priorities. Material possessions feel less important than the impact he can make. He has focused much of his energy on helping others, especially through his Kickstart Kids program, which has helped more than 100,000 at-risk youth learn martial arts, discipline, and self-confidence. He often says that if he can help even one young person find direction, his life's challenges had meaning. Chuck has also supported military families and veterans, providing scholarships and funding support programs. His time in the Air Force gave him purpose, and he remains committed to honoring that part of his life. When asked how he wants to be remembered, his answer is simple. "I want to be remembered as someone who kept going. Not because I was extraordinary, but because I refused to quit." The jokes and stories about his invincibility continue to circulate, bringing smiles to new generations. Chuck understands the difference between the image and the person behind it. The world celebrates a symbol, while he lives quietly, focused on the people closest to him. He knows that no one defeats time, but he also understands that legacy is not built through fame. It is built through love, presence, and the way you treat others. Today, on his Texas ranch, surrounded by his family, Chuck reflects on a life filled with both triumph and hardship. He rose from difficult beginnings to achieve global recognition, but his greatest lessons came not from victory, but from loss, growth, and reflection. He learned that success means little without connection, and that strength is not about dominance, but about endurance and care. Chuck Norris is not defined by perfection. He made mistakes. He missed moments he wishes he could relive. But he grew, learned, and chose to become better. His story reminds us that true strength comes from rising after hardship and choosing to protect what matters most. His daughter Dina is gone. His brother Wieland is gone. His body carries the marks of time. These are challenges he could not overcome. Yet in accepting his limitations, he discovered something deeper than invincibility. He discovered humanity. His journey leaves a question for all of us. Are we so focused on achievement that we forget the people beside us? Are we delaying the words that matter most? His life teaches one clear lesson. Legacy is not what remains after you are gone. It is what you give while you are still here. The greatest strength is not in never falling. It is in standing up again, with wisdom, humility, and the courage to keep moving forward.